Take yourself back to April 2020. You're getting settled in on the couch. You got your pop, you got your chips, and you're ready to watch the draft. The Bengals are on the clock until there's a trade. That trade's between the Bengals and the Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens send Lamar Jackson and a couple other picks for the first overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. With that pick, they'll take Joe Burrow, and he'll join the Ravens. We're going to do a 10-year simulation on Joe Burrow's career if he would have gotten drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in 2020. Let's take a look at the squad he's walking into the first season with. As far as protection goes, his tackles are great and his interior O-line could use some upgrades. He's got a couple decent receiver threats. J.K. Dobbins is a young running back in his rookie season as well, and Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews, so we know what we're going to get out of him. There's just a couple positions to upgrade on the defense. Other than that, it's pretty solid. We could use another defensive tackle, maybe a will linebacker, a safety. Other than that, it's a solid defense heading into year one for Joe Burrow. Let's get to the end of the season. Year one for Joe Burrow, he went 8-9 and missed the playoffs. 3,500 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Let's simulate through free agency and the NFL draft and see who the Baltimore Ravens get to build around Joe Burrow heading into year two. The Ravens gave up a lot for Joe Burrow, and they know it's time to build around him. In the offseason, they signed 10 players in free agency. Right tackle, DJ Fluker. Defensive tackle, Gerard McCoy. Right edge, Justin Matabuke. Will linebacker, Nathan Gary. Fullback, Roosevelt Nix. Will linebacker, Dakota Allen. Fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. Defensive tackle, Deadrin Senat. Right edge, Alden Smith. And defensive tackle, Daquan Jones. Positions that they needed and positions that were weak heading into year two, they addressed in the offseason. Let's see who they get in the NFL draft. The Baltimore Ravens addressed the defense in the offseason. They continued that in the NFL draft. Their first round selection, Kwity Paye, right edge rusher. Their first of two second round selections, Aleem McNeil. The second being Gregory Rousseau, left edge. And to cap out the top three rounds for the Baltimore Ravens, Benjamin St-Juste is the corner. Let's take a look at the defense and the offense heading into year two of Joe Burrow on the Baltimore Ravens. One of the key additions is an underappreciated position, but a position the Baltimore Ravens utilize quite frequently, and that's fullback. We added 86 overall Kyle Juszczyk. The defense is starting to look better for Joe Burrow on the Baltimore Ravens. A couple of the young guys we added, Kwity Paye and Greg Rousseau, are buried deep on the depth charts at right and left edge rusher. Benjamin St-Juste is down as CB5. If these guys can give us some solid reps this season, I could see him moving into a starting role down the line. Let's head into year two with Joe Burrow on the Ravens. Year two of Joe Burrow on the Baltimore Ravens, they finished 6-11 in last place in the AFC North. Statistically, Joe Burrow was better in year two. More passing yards, the same amount of touchdowns, and less interceptions. Almost 3,600 passing yards, 24 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Let's see what the Ravens do in the offseason, see if they keep adding to build around Joe Burrow. 5 free agent signings for the Baltimore Ravens, all of them targeting the trenches. Defensive tackle, Justin Jones. Right tackle, DJ Fluker. Center, Mason Cole. Left edge, Muhammad Wilkerson. And right tackle, Jawan James are all added heading into year 3 for Joe Burrow. After addressing the defense last year, they decided to address the offense this year. 4 picks in the top 3 rounds for the Ravens. They took Garrett Wilson with their first round selection, Nakobe Dean, a linebacker, with their second round selection, the second of their second round picks, Breece Hall, running back, and their third round pick, Chig Okonkwo. Let's see what that does for the Baltimore Ravens with Joe Burrow heading into year 3. The year 3 offense for Joe Burrow on the Baltimore Ravens looks pretty good. The holes right now are the interior offensive line and the right tackle position. We lost Orlando Brown Jr., so we kicked Ronnie Stanley over to left tackle. Garrett Wilson's going to be the wide receiver 3 and the slot receiver heading into year 3. Breece Hall is going to be the backup halfback to 90 overall, J.K. Dobbins. The defense looks much better in year 3 for Joe Burrow than it did in year 1. The corners, the safeties, the linebackers, the edge rushers have all progressed well, and we've drafted well. Kwity Paye is now a starter, 78 overall. Nakobe Dean's already a 74 overall, and he should progress nicely as he's going to get a lot of snaps as the starter. The defensive tackle position leaves a little bit to be desired, but we can address that in free agency in the offseason. Let's get into year 3 with Joe Burrow on the Ravens. After 3 seasons, Joe Burrow's still yet to find a 500 record on the Baltimore Ravens. 7-10 in year 3. Year 3 for Joe Burrow, not great. 2,700 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. About his average number of passing touchdowns, but way below his average in yards. His interceptions were down, sure, but clearly with only 2,700 yards, he wasn't throwing the ball downfield and putting it into harm's way anyway, so take it with a grain of salt. Let's see what the Ravens do in the offseason heading into year 4 with Joe Burrow. The Baltimore Ravens had a quiet offseason, signing just 3 free agents, but they were positions of need. Left edge, D. Ford. Right tackle, Germain Ifedi. And center, J.C. Tretter. Let's see what they decide to do in the NFL draft. The best draft the Ravens have had so far, they addressed the positions of need and added some weapons for Joe Burrow. The tackle position was definitely a concern heading into year 4, and they decided to address it in the draft. Joe Alt's the round 1 selection. Joe Alt gives you more time to throw, so they decided to take another weapon and add him with Garrett Wilson. Ladd McConkey joins the squad. And to add another linebacker to the room, Junior Colson wraps up the top 3 rounds for the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see what the team looks like heading into year 4 with Joe Burrow. Heading into year 4, Joe Burrow's progressed all the way up to an 88 overall, and the offense around him looks great. J.K. Dobbins is a 92, Breece Hall's up to an 86, Garrett Wilson's up to an 86, he's got a couple other 85 overall receivers, Ladd McConkey's going to be the slot at an 80 overall, and Joe Alt's the starting right tackle, also at an 80 overall. Let's see how well those guys progress in year 4 with Joe Burrow. Year in and year out, the biggest liability on the defense is the defensive tackle position. Other than that, everything looks great. Nakobe Dean's a 79 overall, Kwity Paye's up to an 83 overall, Patrick Queen's an 88 overall, and the secondary looks fantastic. Let's see what this team's got in store for us in year 4 with Joe Burrow. That's exactly what we're looking for. In year 4 with the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Burrow goes 12-5. Talk about breaking out of your shell. 2,700 passing yards last season, 5,500 passing yards this season, 41 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He's the 2 seed in the playoffs. Let's see what he can do in his first appearance. Joe Burrow took the Baltimore Ravens to the AFC title game but fell short, losing to the Chiefs. A good year 4 for him on the Ravens. Let's see what they do in the offseason. The Baltimore Ravens decided to sign 7 guys in the offseason. Strong safety Daniel Thomas, corner Jeff Gladney, center Cedric Van Pran Granner, left edge Sam Hubbard, left guard Mike Onwenu, right guard Ezra Cleveland, and defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi. Let's see who they take in the NFL draft. The Baltimore Ravens felt like they needed to address the secondary in this draft, and that's exactly what they did. 5 picks heading either to the safety room or the corner room. The other 2 are on the offensive line, which I can't really complain, as you always want to have a good offensive line. Their first round selection, Gray Zabel, he's a left guard. Their second round selection, Upton Stout, he's a corner. And their third round selection, Caleb Ransall. Let's see what these guys are able to do with Joe Burrow in year 5 on the Baltimore Ravens. When Joe Burrow joined the Ravens, there were some holes on this offense. All of them seem to be filled outside of the center position. A 94 overall running back, 90 overall, and an 89 overall receiver. His tackles are great, 91 overall and 87 overall. Mark Andrews is up to an 88 overall, and Joe Burrow himself is up to a 91 overall X Factor. To pair with the best offense is by far the best defense. Guys we've added in the draft and free agency are progressing nicely. The biggest hole was defensive tackle, and that got addressed with 82 overall Larry Ogunjobi. Our first round selection from a few years ago, Kwity Paye's up to an 85 overall, and he got paired in the offseason with Sam Hubbard, an 81 overall. Nakobe Dean's progressed up to an 82 overall, Patrick Queen's up to a 90 overall. The safeties and corners all look great. The best team Joe Burrow's had heading into year 5, let's see what he can do with them. The hangover from the AFC title game is real. The Baltimore Ravens fall to 9-8 with Joe Burrow in year 5. His stats took a hit, but they were still impressive. 4,200 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. I expect a stat line like that to get you into the playoffs, but it didn't on year 5. Let's see what the Ravens do in this offseason heading into year 6 with Joe Burrow. Just 2 signings for the Baltimore Ravens after year 5 with Joe Burrow. Left edge rusher Marlon Davidson and cornerback Kendall Fuller. Let's see who they take in the draft. Outside of selecting wide receiver Denzel Boston with their first round draft pick, they went heavy in the trenches. Defensive tackle Zane Durant in the second round, Emil Wagner, a left tackle in the third, and Ernest Green III, a right tackle in the fourth. Let's see what impact these guys have on Joe Burrow heading into year 6. I thought last year's team was solid, but this team's even better. Joe Burrow's up to a 93 overall X-Factor quarterback. Ladd McConkey's a 93 overall X-Factor wide receiver. Paired up with 91 overall Garrett Wilson, we have 2 superstar running backs, 96 overall J.K. Dobbins, 91 overall Breece Hall. And Mark Andrews doesn't show any signs of regressing. He's an 89 overall. Chigga, one of our draft picks, is up to an 83 overall. Joe Alt's up to an 89 overall at the right tackle position. Still, the biggest hole on this team's center. Every member of the defense is continuing to progress. 84 overall Nakobe Dean and 91 overall Patrick Queen hold down the linebacker room. Kwity Paye's up to an 86 overall and Sam Hubbard's up to an 82 overall. The secondary looks great, and Larry Ogunjobi's still holding down the defensive line at an 82 overall. Let's see what these guys are able to do with Joe Burrow in year 6. Joe Burrow is back in the driver's seat of the AFC North Division. He goes 12-5 in year 6 with the Ravens. Joe Burrow in year 6 had 4,500 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, and for the first time since he was a rookie, double-digit interceptions with 11. Nonetheless, good enough to make the playoffs. Let's see how far he goes. A second-round exit for the Joe Burrow-led Baltimore Ravens as they fall to the Buffalo Bills. Let's head to the offseason and see what the Ravens get to continue to build around Joe Burrow. The Ravens signed 4 guys in the offseason, but none that are going to help us, all depth pieces. Let's head to the draft. A defensive-minded draft here for the Baltimore Ravens. Their first overall selection was a corner, Jay Wise. Their next 2 picks were linebackers, Manu Mercado and DeMarcus Sullivan. Let's see what these guys can do for the Baltimore Ravens as we head into year 7 with Joe Burrow. A couple changes to the offense, but nonetheless relatively the same. Joe Burrow's up to a 94 overall. J.K. Dobbins is a 97 overall running back, but we had to let Breece Hall go in free agency. Ladd McConkey's up to a 96 overall X Factor. Garrett Wilson's up to a 92 overall. Joe Wall, our right tackle's up to a 91 overall, and Ronnie Stanley's holding strong as a 92 overall left tackle. The defense looks good, but it could use a little bit of help in the offseason next year. The defensive tackle position is now the weakest spot on the defense after Larry Ogunjobi leaves the squad. Zane Duran, a 75 overall, leads that room. The linebackers look great, the edge rushers look great, and the secondary looks okay. Hopefully that's enough to get Joe Burrow into the Super Bowl in year 7. Unfortunately for Joe Burrow, it seems if he makes the playoffs the previous season, the next season he misses it. 10-7 and we lose the tiebreaker to the Cleveland Browns and miss the playoffs. His year 7 stats though are better than they were last year. 4,500 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, and just 9 interceptions. Let's see what the Ravens do in the offseason heading into year 8 with Joe Burrow. The Baltimore Ravens opted not to sign a single free agent, probably because they have negative cap room. In the NFL draft, they took a little bit of everything. Their first round selection, left tackle Pete Stevenson. Their second round selection, wide receiver Junior Young. And their third round selection, corner, bear with me now, Chauncey McLeod? I'm not sure, but he's joining the team with Joe Burrow heading into year 8. Let's see what these guys are able to do. The year 8 offense for Joe Burrow is starting to show signs of regression. Joe Burrow himself, not regressing yet. 94 overall superstar X Factor. J.K. Dobbins still a 97 overall superstar. And Ladd McConkey's up to a 99 overall superstar X Factor wide receiver. The regression starts with Garrett Wilson as he's down to star dev. Mark Andrews is down to an 87 overall. And we lost our left tackle Ronnie Stanley. Emil Wagner's going to fill in as an 81 overall. Not much regression, if any, on the defense. Nakobe Dean's up to an 86 overall. Kwity Paye's up to a superstar 88 overall. Patrick Queen holding strong as a 94 overall X Factor. Davidson's a 90 overall left edge rusher. And buried on the defensive line, we have a 69 overall superstar X Factor defensive tackle. Bear with me. Amosigo? That's how I'm going to say it. Amosigo, a superstar X Factor on the defensive line if he can progress. Only a 69 overall, so not good enough to make the starting rotation just yet. Let's see what this defense is able to do with Joe Burrow in year 8. The Ravens are continuing the trend where they miss the playoffs, make the playoffs, miss the playoffs, and then remake the playoffs. 11-6 in year 8 for Joe Burrow. Let's take a look at his stats. A step back in yards and touchdowns, but a step up in interceptions. 4,400 passing yards, 39 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. His second least through 8 years. Let's see what he can do in the playoffs. In year 8, Joe Burrow's able to make a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens for the first time. He'll take on the Kyler Murray-led Cardinals. Let's see if he can win one. The Arizona Cardinals go down and kick a late field goal to beat Joe Burrow and the Ravens in the Super Bowl. The furthest he's made it in 8 seasons, let's see what year 9's got in store for him. No free agents for the Baltimore Ravens in the offseason as they're still negative in the cap room department, but in the NFL draft, their first overall selection was a free safety, Vernon Kemp. Their next pick, halfback Freddie Brooks, and their third round pick, Trey Chavez, a tight end. Let's see what these guys can do with Joe Burrow in year 9. Joe Burrow still has a solid offense around him heading into year 9. He's a 94 overall, so he's not going up, but he's also not going down. J.K. Dobbins still a 97 overall, and Ladd McConkey still holds his 99 overall badge. Garrett Wilson didn't move, he's a 93 still. Mark Andrews went down to an 83 overall, but got his X Factor back. Not really sure how that happens, but I'll take it. Joe Alt's up to a 94 overall, and Emil Wagner's up to an 84 overall. Let's look at the defense. The defense looks a little different heading into year 9 with Joe Burrow. Mercado is going to be the linebacker paired up with 94 overall superstar X Factor Patrick Queen. Kwity Paye's up to an 89 overall. We lost our free safety. That means Kemp, the 76 overall. Hayden Dev's going to be the starter. Marlon Humphreys is down to a 90 overall, but Wise is up to an 85 overall superstar. Let's see what year 9 holds. In year 9, Joe Burrow leads the Ravens to the best record in the NFL, 14-3, the 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. 4,500 passing yards, 44 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions for Joe Burrow in year 9. Let's see if he can avenge his Super Bowl loss from last season. For the second straight season, Joe Burrow makes the Super Bowl. He'll take on the MVP-winning Cam Ward-led Detroit Lions. Along with winning the Super Bowl, Joe Burrow took home the Super Bowl MVP, his first award in 9 seasons with the Ravens. Even though these players aren't going to get to play with Joe Burrow as this is the last year with him on the Ravens, I wanted to show you the draft anyway. Left tackle, Jonathan Peck. Wide receiver, Mello Harris. And strong safety, Heath Eaton. Let's see what the last season with Joe Burrow on the Ravens holds. The regression continues on the offensive side of the ball. Even after winning a Super Bowl, Joe Burrow falls from a 94 to a 91. J.K. Dobbins is down from a 97 to a 95. Ladd McConkey's holding strong at a 97 overall. Garrett Wilson's holding strong at a 94 overall. Mark Andrews is a 79 overall, but still a superstar X Factor. Joe Alt's a 95 overall, up from last season. Wagner's an 87 overall, also up from last season. This defense for Joe Burrow in year 10 is the weakest it's been in a while. There's a couple holes that need to be filled, but it's too late to fill them as we're heading into the season. The corner room's weak, the safety room is getting weaker, the defensive line still's not great, but let's see if they can run it back and win another Super Bowl. I'll see you at the end of year 10. Just like year 9, in year 10, Joe Burrow goes 14-3 with the Baltimore Ravens, claiming the top seed in the AFC playoffs. Let's see if he can go back-to-back and win another Super Bowl. In year 10, Joe Burrow threw for 4,600 passing yards, 46 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. He started the year as a 91 overall, and he's up to a 98 overall heading into the playoffs. Let's try and go back-to-back to cap off this challenge with Joe Burrow. For the third straight season, Joe Burrow's in the Super Bowl. He's going to look to avenge that Super Bowl loss truly against the Arizona Cardinals. He won it last year against the Lions. This year he gets a chance to beat the team that beat him in year 8. Let's see if he can do it. To cap off his 10th season, Joe Burrow's going out on top. He's in victory formation to avenge his only Super Bowl loss to the Arizona Cardinals. That'll cap off the 10-year challenge with Joe Burrow on the Baltimore Ravens. Stay tuned and I'll show you his career stats. After 10 seasons on the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Burrow threw for 42,352 passing yards, 351 touchdowns, 79 interceptions. He made the playoffs 5 times, totaling 12 wins, 2 Super Bowl rings, and 2 Super Bowl MVPs. No regular season awards for Joe Burrow, but I'd say any player would trade a regular season MVP for a Super Bowl ring. Let me know in the comments which player I should add to a different team and simulate their career for 10 seasons. As always, I appreciate each and every single one of you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.